item report should be pretty clear.
Yeah, the only thing I've got to talk about is the little cutting sign. Again.
So,
Again.
but was they spelled Bidwell right? Apparently there's the sign somewhere where it's spelled wrong.
The 9.4.
I'm in the square at our constant back user group meeting and I was horrified.
Why was she horrified?
We're bottom first. I didn't know.
They do everything you hear around town. Probably there.
No, no.
Okay, so back online again.
Yeah.
So we're now moving to item 9.5. Can we have a mover and seconder for the action items
I'll move.
component?
Oh, we're on the action item.
Angela's moved.
Yep.
Garrett, Pip
Yeah, Pip.
seconded. Now, I can say now that I've asked for clarification. I don't know if you can add anything to this, but item 168,
Yeah.
apparently there was a document sent through around about the 15th of June confirming our meeting and cannot hold funds, additional. Maybe I've got the wrong one. No, sorry, it's item 253. On the 7th of the 6th, further information around court ruling and action items around increase be sent to Martinborough Community Board, and I don't recall ever seeing anything.
It's a fee.
But that's supposed to be action. So I've asked Katie to
Clarification.
clarify that with whoever was doing that.
Was that,
Could have been Amanda.
was
What's
that,
to do with
that,
that?
was that email what we got back with the, it had already had the red writing and had blue writing on it?
No.
No, because that was about the same time period, that's all.
It was about the same time, but it wasn't the same thing.
Okay, so yeah,
So we're
clarification what that
expecting
is.
some more.
So the action was to get details of the approved form the council gave for the 100% increase in paying farm overhead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they said they supplied that information to us on the 7th of 6th or thereabouts.
I think they've got them confused because Katie, I believe what Katie provided was the document from court.
We haven't received the.
Yeah. So I think they've
It's
confused
got
that.
up to the phase, you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think they might have confused the two. Would that be fair, Katie?
Yeah, it was.
You weren't
copied.
asked to provide anything else, were you?
I haven't sent anything out. It would have been Nikki maybe.
On behalf of Amanda.
Quite a lot of information that we already had that was not really relevant to that issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can follow up.
So we've still got that one in.
I did.
Following up.
Yeah.
And I can speak to the one for Bidwell's cutting. And so I went, but unfortunately it wasn't put onto the Māori Standing Committee meeting, but I had a quick run round, and then the lovely Katie here got the document from me and she scanned it, and so I've got the scan to go, because they'll need to take the Māori Standing Committee just have to take it back to each of them, like to Hauriki Marae and to Kohanui and stuff, to actually get some of the wording. You know how we were just hoping to get some wording on some of the significant sites.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so they'll take it back for their meetings.
So you're still looking after that?
Well, I've got something to add to that as well. So I contacted James regarding this as well, because when we were at a Constant Impact user group, he was talking about funding that he has from MB or somewhere for signage. Yeah. So I sent him it to say, would this be anything that you would be able to fund? And he said, probably not, but he liked it. So I'm wondering if we need to have an agreement that we want to fund this, because it looks like we'll be the funders. And do we want to do that before we go any further, to say that, yes, we will spend, I think it was around $3,000 to have this sampling.
Yes, and that was also from the beautification fund that's now been changed to a different name.
Which is now another fund.
I think we could possibly maybe say that's dependent, as was the other one, on knowing how much funding we have once we've got that clarification.
We know how much we've got.
We've got enough of this for our what's it called now? It was beautification now.
No, it's the development fund. So we know we've got enough money in there.
Better as beautification.
It's whether we want to spend it on this sign, because there's no point us carrying on finding other things out or doing more work on it unless we know we're going to do it.
So when do we get more funding? What's this period? We've got
No, this
11 and a half.
is new period.
So it's
Oh,
new. No, we've got 23, we've got 24.
We've got, yeah, $24,000.
And it's only given the community $1,000 to the tree group.
So this has been on the action points for a long time, but there's never actually been a decision made that we were going to pay for it.
We make the decision.
So this, and when
Can we
we
check that? Could Aidan, wasn't all the quotes and everything? We were already progressing that. I'm sure that had already been.
I've got all the quotes, and we've got Andy Shaw's done a huge discount. That's a huge discount, but he broke it down into the thing that I did bring before, which had the
I've
cost
got
of the wrapping it. Yeah, you've got all that. So we've had it all broken down. I don't know the exact figure, but it's just, you know, there's work being involved going behind and trying to find this out. But if we're not going to agree to pay for it, there's no point in proceeding. That's all I'm saying. Is can we have a commitment that this is a project we want to do?
So what's the breakdown of the cost? It gets reprinted
Hang on,
and then putting it in place.
Yeah.
I will find it. Hang on.
We've got it all, yeah, because I did send it out to everybody. Everyone's
We
got it,
could,
but I don't know where.
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
we could agree to it. It's not too big,
Yeah.
couldn't we?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is it something that people want to spend the money on?
I think it is, but you know, how much money? It's not.
Yeah.
It's only about $3,000, is it?
Yeah. It might come back with
Go
the
ahead.
actual figure.
Right, okay.
Well, in concept, I have no problem with it.
Right.
It's just whether we want to approve it.
Yeah.
I thought it might have fallen more into, not quite.
So at the moment, what Jen said, also take it to Tim,
Yeah,
the roading as well.
I just wondered, because it's not really an NZTA type sign.
No, but he said to run it past him. So, because it was like.
Like what Akaroa has, you know, like when you go down to
Ongoing.
Akaroa and on your way there, you stop and it's got the beautiful signage that explains all
They're
of it.
beautiful.
It's off the road, you pull off. It's not like it's directing in the road.
No, I'm not talking.
We're talking about funding.
You're talking about health and safety.
Just saying it's not this, it's just doesn't come under NZTA's jurisdiction.
No, so they wouldn't want to.
Tim probably wouldn't have anything to do with it.
No, James said to take it to Tim. I don't know why.
I don't know why that would be. It's sort of something that the council would do for a welcome to Martinborough type activity, but it's not really appropriate for that either. It's really just a tourist signboard.
It's a nice,
Yeah.
that is a nice to have. Do we want to
It's
spend
a promotional material for them for coming to Martinborough.
Yeah,
Look, I do notice travelling along there is frequent people stopping at that
lots of
point.
people do stop
Because and that's what you say.
So I think there would be plenty of
people would use it.
people looking at it, should it be there. So I have, in principle, I have no problem with providing the funding.
Yeah.
Providing it's in the range that we're talking about.
Yeah, so maybe that's what we can agree on. Because it's just, there is a lot of weight trying to just get the wording on it, and we were going to put it in the Martinborough staff, people to comment on, to see if, you know, and just get a bit of interest behind it. But when I spoke to one of the ladies who does reports for the staff, she said, well, have you already agreed to pay for it? Because if you go, what do you all think of this? And then we, oh yeah, but we're not doing it now. She said, it's just another letdown.
Oh.
So this is item 497.
Yeah,
I'm going to say we agree in principle.
up to a cost of
to
$3,000.
the cost of $3,000 to provide the sign.
Yeah.
Once we have confirmation that's it, we'll probably put it through their normal funding.
Yeah, yeah, and then we can proceed with getting the wedding. Yeah.
Is there a mover to that?
Yeah.
Karen, seconder,
I'll second.
Insler?
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully that'll get that moving off our list.
Yeah, because it's been going for a few years, and poor Andy, every time I ask him something, he must think, oh God, are you really going to do it yet?
Yeah, so 7:31, we're leaving with
Yep, so you're going to get some more wedding from me.
502. Updated on the plantings. We haven't heard back, have we, from Stefan on that?
Where's the water? Anything do I ask to present at the next, oh, he's coming. Adam Matson asked to present at the next Martinborough Community Board meeting.
Didn't turn up.
Oh,
So what do we do with that one? Do we leave it in?
You just got to leave it because,
Yeah.
in the various workshops that council has had with Wellington Water, I have raised that restorative justice process that Wellington Water said that they were going to carry out, which not only included the plantings, but also included a hui
It is.
Hawariki.
It is going ahead. Councillor Maynard may be able to speak to this. Wellington Water came to present at the last MSC meeting with a plan for that restorative planting, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, it got a bit heated, guys.
Wasn't there.
It did, because I couldn't understand how, when they knew how much and how often we had been asking for information and for them to come to the Martinborough Community Board. They were at that time, they were talking about what they needed to do for the restorative justice, and I said, you don't understand, it's more than once. This was for the original one, and since then there's been another 2, 3, 4 spillovers. So I explained that to them really politely and quietly. So I just it was very, very interesting, and yes, they are going to have a hui. And I said that I wanted to ensure, and I actually did ask as well that they came and spoke at this meeting tonight.
They were down here to speak, they didn't.
Right.
So just go back and, just make a note in the actions that Wellington Water failed to appear. And
Again.
Make the request again.
And ask that they attend the next meeting on the next date, scheduled date of the community board.
Yeah.
Now, with this action, who follows that through to Wellington Water?
I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
And because I did tell him that it was this week, and that our expectation would be that he came to present here, and also that anything, because of where it's happened, that the Martinborough Community Board needs to be involved. This was raised by the Martinborough Community Board, and then it was taken up by the Māori Standing Committee as well, and so it needs, it needs to be twofold. It doesn't. You don't just have one, because that's not community engagement, only involving the Māori Standing Committee. But I think it's because it's called restorative justice, but we still all want to see it. And it was the Martinborough Community Board that were looking at involving the school in the plantings. So any meeting that they have at Hawariki Marae, I think, needs to be stormed by the community board. No.
I didn't know I was doing it. Okay.
So this goes back to September last year.
Yeah.
No, earlier than that.
It was
Earlier than that.
I think we did a revision before then.
I mean,
Not we didn't, but it was done before.
Much earlier than that.
So we're going to make a request. Katie's going to organise with Wellington Water for them to come and present to us next stage. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's all we can ask. Okay.
No, we can also ask for confirmation on when the hui is to be held with Māori Standing Committee, and that the Martinborough Community Board is made aware of it so they can attend if they're available.
Okay, who would be doing that meeting arrangement? Would that be Wellington Water?
And the South Wairarapa District Council, or for the Māori Standing Committee.
Okay, so whoever connects that, won't need to connect them.
Yeah.
Okay.
should be under my jurisdiction.
So the next item we've got is of the getting the trees into the oak trees into the district plan.
Noble trees, that's underway, isn't it?
I had spoken to James Witham, who was to kick that off, who was a planning officer in the regulatory department, but he has since left council. So I'll chase up with Russell, who's the GM, and ask those questions.
Yeah.
Aiden to follow through.
So those particular trees, there was some question that they were planted in memory of soldiers of the First World War.
Yes.
But according to Mate Higginson, that's not correct. They were planted after the First World War, but nothing to do with the fallen soldiers. That one of the Martin members of the Martin family had gifted that land and planted the trees, and I believe it was 1929, which was after the First World War, but nothing, there was no connection
Mhm.
to the war, actually. It was just, the land was given in 1929 with the treaty.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that with
I'll
Abel.
chase that up with Russell to find out who's running that process.
I think we just need to remind Stefan for item 030 that he is organising a workshop for the Memorial Square development.
It says we'll update the action to meet with James to discuss further.
Yeah, but that's still.
So James with them. That was James.
That James O'Connor,
Oh, James O'Connor.
Emeritus guy, because he,
Chairman.
yeah, it's the other one, yeah.
We thought that plan, that's now quite a few years old, but it's quite a good document that we could
Yeah.
work with that and just really.
I thought whether they believe that it's still current.
It is still.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
so
though,
that-
even though it's old, it's 10 years.
Oh, but
It
it's,
just needs to, we need to go through it and just review
Yeah.
it, and that's what.
so we don't need to start again with.
Don't need to.
No, oh, that should be fairly straightforward.
So can you get a note to Stefan as a reminder?
Yeah.
Thank you. And then we have the ones that actioned. So that's the funding.
Right, go.
So I think we can move on from that for the tree group.
Yeah, yeah, I'll sort that out.
I'll sort
I
that
can
out.
go.
The other one, we're just going to note, I think you might have to ask Amanda about that notification of the 7th to the 6th. And finally, we've got a workshop.
That's
So
what we
that's
talked about before.
made that report for the vendor to work on getting something to
That's
the
right.
workshop.
Yep.
So that needs to be just revised.
What's missing? Oh, probably here. What was that? My manager's there. Boy, that somebody sitting
I
here.
know, there should be.
Nobody will lonely.
So we come to the final item.
They don't care anymore. They don't want to cross it
Do we?
anymore.
Which is a item 10.1. It's a member's report. Member being Angela Brown. Can we have a mover to receive the report?
Yes.
Karen, thank you. Second. Thank you. So Angela, can you give us in 2 seconds a quick summary so we can.
3 seconds,
Three.
maybe. I will keep it quite brief. I've supplied everyone with a copy of the report, which was attached to the agenda today. So this is really just following up on what's in our community board plan as far as what we're doing for resilience and working with Wellington Regional Management Office, working with Vivian and with Nigel. So where we're at is we've arranged a sequence of 3 events this year. We have a household preparedness, we have a leadership skills for disaster, and we're going to do a open day where people will be able to practice an event, which will probably be like earthquakes happened. This is what this community hub will do. So basically it's working on what Vivian came and presented to us and looking at how we could do this as well. So we've got a lovely local person, Donna, who's helping with this as well. Really keen. She does a lot of training. So it's part of what her job is, her work. So she's helped with some of this as well. So we've had a couple of sticking points with working with Remo. One of them was we asked if we could move the emergency hub from the ambulance station where it currently is across the road to use the Waihanger Centre. A couple of reasons for this. One was thinking it was a better facility to have this hub at because of all the emergency vehicles, and also the toy library have just been asked to move out of the ambulance station so that that area is going to be used more for like a changing facility for the emergency people and just a bigger space for them to work from in the event of a disaster as well. So currently where we're at with that is Remo seem to, and Nigel are both coming on board with not disagreeing with it anymore. But they said it will take a process in order to move it. So I was just wanting to bring to the board to get some feedback and some support for us to be able to formally ask them to move the location of the emergency hub to the Waihanger Centre.
So is there any obstruction or anything inhibiting us with that request so they can facilitate it here?
Yeah. So originally, I think when it was done with the because when we discussed it, it was a previous community board that had done, Pam Clenser was involved, and they didn't like the brick wall. So this was the reason that they were
Like
in
brick
here,
wall,
because it's a
why?
brick wall in case of an earthquake,
It's been earthquake strengthened, it cost $6 million.
but not to the current.
Not at that time.
Oh,
No, this is what I think, at the time, it might not have been here.
oh,
I think, I think it was, the hub was probably here, but then they moved it across the road because
before it was strengthened.
before it was strengthened,
Yeah,
because this was classed as an.
and it's never come back, yeah.
No, it is now up to code, that's why it cost $6 million, so.
Yeah.
There's no reason why it can't come back, yeah.
So there's no impediment. to bringing it
Can
back.
I just clarify as well? So, and the ambulance, where the hub currently is, because I don't know, most of the hubs, they're normally around the emergency, around an emergency
No,
provider.
they're not, they usually keep them separate, so sometimes.
Well,
they're in
that's what I was
schools.
going to say,
Yeah,
because
otherwise
as-
people think it's that they're the emergency people as well. Yeah, so
and do they have, so have they, is the Martinborough ambulance quite happy for it to go?
that's the discussion that Nigel would have with, is he going to talk to Jake? Because, the ambulance station now is part of volunteer fire. It doesn't belong to ambulance anymore. So Nigel was going to discuss it with Jake as well.
If he could discuss it with them, and if they're happy with it, then I've got no problem moving it here.
That's what we said. If talk to them.
Otherwise, I believe it's in the way over there. Like it's actually in the way of they could get stuck. And it could be from anything, flooding. With those guys all getting called out, but actually people are trying to get in.
Yeah, exactly.
Far more logical.
That's what I that was the argument behind it, that would we actually be in the way? And also then the expectation is that they're the hub and they're not the hub. The hub is the community. So it was to make that slight separation.
So for the hub.
Yeah.
How much equipment or how much space is required?
They have that plastic box that they showed us.
Box,
It's the plastic container is the hub, and it's got the lanyards in, it's got a radio in, it's got this tiny.
Whereabouts would that stay?
They would pop it probably either in this side of the building or possibly just maybe in the library, because in the event of an emergency, you can get in there easy enough.
Somewhere there.
They looked at the cupboards in the where the Plunkett room is, there's those cupboards in the Plunkett room area as well. So the space to put it. One of the questions Nigel raised was about the alarms for the banking here, because we have a separate alarm system. But it's it wouldn't be I know it wouldn't be an issue. I mean, if you're in the middle of an earthquake and the alarm went off and the phone rang to check why the alarm's going off, that you just tell them the code and they stop, or you just say we're in the middle of an earthquake. So, but we don't actually have to access the room at the back. That is actually the one that, because there's only one room that's really affected by the alarms, apart from the door up here. The one that you can't leave ajar in case.
And I think we could probably keep it closed off. I mean, to me, I think the library or the supper room, like in there somewhere, both of those places make sense because they're council, like it's not leased out to anyone else.
Yeah, it's our space. Yeah.
Whereas Plunkett is Plunkett, and So I think to me one of those two places, but I guess all the hub is there for, and this is my understanding, is for people to get information.
Yeah.
And then take it back to their area, their street, their whatever. Because it's up to us, one is the community board, but also, and then to bring on board your next door neighbour, then your next door neighbour goes and checks on the other next door neighbour. And that's how we work it, like making sure that everyone's safe and accounted for.
Certainly, yeah. So that was the recommendation was resolved to move the location of the emergency hub to the Waihenga Centre. I told them I would bring it to one of our meetings for a discussion. So that it was not just me saying I wanted it to know that this was the community board requesting that we made that move as well. So, I mean, I'm quite happy to put with, in conjunction with the fire brigade, if we check with Jake, and if Jake's in favour of us moving it, and if you're happy supporting it under that circumstance, we can pop that in.
Yeah.
Yep, but we do need people to actually vote on that because we're making a decision or not?
You can make a resolution if you wanted, or I can just document it here. I just
No, that's cool.
said that you requested support from the board to progress moving the emergency.
Perfect.
And that members were supportive if all key stakeholders were engaged.
Perfect. That's great. That's great.
And the other thing was to request.
Because we may need to check as well with the bank, just because the banking hub is there. That
Yeah.
may actually be they're
That's what
happy with
Nigel was checking that.
yeah.
Nigel was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
look,
So
but you're right.
that's my
Oh,
only other
please,
concern. That could actually be a deterrent.
Yeah.
So the only other thing is to resolve the funding of 150.
Yeah, so it was just, and then we was looking at a fund of up to $150 available, so that when we've got 3 events. Remo will supply tea, coffee and biscuits, but we wanted for the final event, which will have families and a few people around, to maybe put on a sausage sizzle and a few things. But we know we might be able to get donations, but it was if we now ask for a fund of up to $150 as an operations budget, so that we don't have to come back and ask if we.
So you're asking that of the.
It's organised now of the community board. It's from our operations budget, so it's not from a grant. Yeah.
I don't think we have any problem with it, do we?
I'd have no problem with that.
No, so you'll just need a mover and a seconder for that.
Okay, so can we have a mover to fund $150?
I move Angela's proposal.
Okay, Pip's moved, Karen seconded,
Cool.
done and dusted.
Yeah, so final thing is with the schedule of events, it'd be great if you guys could be here if it's possible. It's a day you can be here, just, meeting with people and everything else too, and showing the support of
Is this
the
the 30th?
board. This is the 16th of August, the 13th of September and the 30th of September. So what I'll do is I'll just send them out as meeting requests. So you've got them on your calendars, and, even if you just do attentive and if you're around,
Yep.
so know what's up for everybody. But it'd be great to have as many people there as we can. I've got to get bums on seats for the first one.
Okay,
Yeah, cool.
great.
Done. That's me finished.
Any further comment? Take it no.
No, that's really good. Thank you.
Thank you for your attendance, and if there's no further business, I will declare the meeting closed.
Perfect. Thank you.
You will
Hey,